You guys heard that awesome theme music. I've been waiting so many years to do something like this, and now because of YouTube and the fact that I have a channel, I can finally do this. It's my guilty pleasure. It's Big Brother, and it's my favorite version of Big Brother. It's the British version. We're coming to you maybe multiple times every week all summer, and we're going to be doing a little podcast. We're going to be talking about it, and I'm going to be joined by different guests. Tonight, I am joined by Fight Night's Finest, youtube.com/Fight Night's Finest, the Sophic commentator. Fight Night, what's going on?
What's going on, Arachne? And this is my first year watching Big Brother, and to be honest, I'm quite excited about it.
Well, yeah, I mean, you know, that he's a Big Brother virgin. I'm the kind of slag, if you will, of Big Brother. I've watched every single United States episode that's ever aired, every single season. I've watched 3 seasons, or series as they call them over there, of the British Big Brother, including Celebrity Big Brother. It's my favorite show. I know the ins and the outs, and the American version and the British version are 2 different things. We're covering the UK version now just because it starts 3 weeks before the US version, but we will cover that. Anyway, let's get down to it, because this show is all about the house guests. We don't need to talk about my girl Emma, and we're not going to need to talk about my girl Julie on the American version. We've got the house guests going in. Now, Fight Night said, before he'd ever seen this show, before he had ever seen the guests, that he could, just by looking at them, kind of feeling them out, he thinks he can pick some of the people who will be the winners. Fight Night, who are you predicting? Because it's ridiculous that I'm even asking you this. The first question on the first podcast. Who are you predicting to win UK Big Brother?
Okay, after taking a look at basically all the contestants, taking a look and just seeing their background stories and whatnot, the winner, I haven't really sat down to think about a precise person, but out of the 4, I think could possibly win. I think it would either be Christopher, Ash, or Marlon. That's my picks to win.
See, now I have to
I know they're
disagree
all
with
dudes,
you.
but it's like that's my picks to win.
Well, okay, so you pick Chris, Christopher, Ash, and Marlon. I mean, this should be like a draft or something, because why you would pick Ash is beyond me. The guy's pompous. He's never worked a day in his life. They're not going to like him.
It's the laid-back attitude, Arachne. When you got somebody who's chill, they don't start problems. A person who's laid back doesn't really give a damn about anything else. They're there for whatever reason they're there. They're not really going to stir up any problems. And most people like chilled, laid-back people. You can't find anything wrong with them. Why would you want to vote a guy like that off?
Okay, so let me give you some names of some people that might have a chance. Let me school the rookie here for a little bit, teach him how the game is played. What about my girl Pauline?
Well, she holds the power now. She holds the power. And when you hold power, there's going to be some unpopular decisions. You can't make everybody happy. And there's going to come that one episode. There's going to come that one point in time where she's going to have to make a decision. And even though we may think it's best, the people who understand it, the general public of people who are viewing the show, aren't going to like that decision. And then she's going to end up going.
Well, okay, I'm going to pick a guaranteed finalist here. She's my #1 draft pick. For whatever reason, I have a feeling that Helen's going to make it to the finals.
Well, didn't they give her that power already?
Oh, that's right. Well, for anyone who missed it, Pauline was voted to have the secret power. Well, not so secret. They all know, but they don't exactly know what her powers were. The audience voted her to be the kind of head of household, as we'd call it in the United States. And she got to reward one person. She rewarded Mark with, I believe, $5,000. And then I know Fight Night's Finest, you're a big fan of the guy she punished. We don't need to talk about that. Matthew seems like such a stand-up guy, the kind of guy that if you've got a daughter and she brings him home on prom night, you're going to be happy.
What are you talking about? Matthew's that is the creep of the entire show. Like, you can already tell from the way he was sitting in that box when Steven was talking to Kimberly. How he just sat in that box, just poking his eye through that little hole and just listening. You can just see Kimberly every now and again while talking to Steven, just kind of looking at him like, what the fuck is that? Like, He's just sitting there like the biggest creep ever.
Oh yeah, well you had Kimberly and Steven, who I've nicknamed Romney for a number of reasons. He's rich, he's just got that kind of Romney-esque. He wants to be the prime minister over there in England. But yes, Steven's talking to Kimberly. They're in the backyard, and of course Matthew, because he's been punished, he's in this box that's been elevated, I want to say 15 feet or whatever it was. Anyway, he's sticking his eye through the keyhole. Kimberly keeps looking. It was creepy. I don't think that Matthew's going to make it. The word for Matthew is Mr. Cringe. That's what I'm calling him. That's his nickname. Now, we got to get down to the faction in the house, the stable. I've already named them. We're calling them the Bros.
All right, so the Bros is basically the guys who's out there trying to get all the chicks. That's Winston, Steven, Marlon, and what was the last guy's name? We was considering making Ash a bro, but we don't think he's gonna get along too well with them. I think he won't be part of that stable. He's kind of just gonna be doing his own thing.
Yeah, and let me tell you, talking about Marlon, or what, I don't even know what his name is, Mr. Silver. He has some kind of nickname. He refuses to date any girl who's less than a 7 on a scale of 1 to 10, and he spends all his money on clothing, and all he thinks about is women. And he goes in there, and there's some incredibly attractive women in there. And the problem is there's only so many women, and who knows if they're all interested in having relationships this summer. Who knows if they're all straight. I mean, there might not be enough women to go around. And talking about people who aren't straight, he was the one who Paulina picked to be rewarded with the $5,000. Mark, with that haircut, I saw Fight Night's Finest was looking at that haircut and he's taking notes. We're probably going to see him with the haircut like that big kind of Vanilla Ice pompadour by the end of the summer.
No, what are you talking about?
I thought I saw you taking notes on that and the canary yellow blazer.
No. He's one of those characters that not characters. This isn't a cartoon, but he's one of those people that I hope goes pretty fast.
Oh, no. Let me tell you something. I don't know much about Mark, but he has like great energy. I think him and Pauline are going to be close. I like Mark because, Pauline's like a show business person. There's a lot of gay people who she would have worked with. And, generally the British public is more like me, not tolerant of gay people, but accepting and understanding that this is how they are and everything. We won't get into that conversation. Then you've got the troublemaker, the instigator, the last one to come into the house, Jail. Your girl.
Yeah, she's that sarcastic kind of don't fuck with me kind of person. And I like her for that. I really think, she's going to stir up a lot of controversy in the house. She's obviously out of all of them, she's probably the least prettiest one because of the fact of how maybe her weight or whatever the case may be. I'm just stating how most people will look at it. And to be honest, if you look at all the cast, she probably is the most ugliest one out of everybody. Well, maybe besides Paulina, but hey, what do I know? Anyway, she's gonna be that one that starts up problems. Either that or she's gonna have tons of friends.
Well, I mean, I called her Jail. I think her name is like Jaleh or something, but you've got her, and then you've got the girl from... She's a foreigner. I believe she's from Ireland, or I think she is from Ireland. Ashley, who's 18 and looks innocent, but she's already said she has a very short fuse. If anyone says anything to her, she's going to go off. And I'm wondering if Ashley and Jaleh are going to be best friends or best enemies in that house.
I think that might be one of those controversial things. I think they'll avoid each other for the most part, but she's coming in at 18 years old, so I think she's the youngest one there. Everybody else is pretty much in their 20s, and, we got a few older people in there. But it's like, those two, that's going to be that kind of your little ass girl. I think that's where that's going to be heading off to.
I mean, and talking about people who have certain quirks, I mean, we've got to talk about the Catholic girl, the staunchly religious.
That's your favorite one? That's the one you picked to win. Remember, you was telling me about her last night. You was telling me how you think Danielle is going to be She's definitely going to be a finalist. She's one of your favorite
Oh
characters. You
yeah,
love her
well,
her Catholic values, her moral sense. That,
and anyone who knows me knows that I'm all about conservative religious values and trying to force them on other people. Yeah, who doesn't like that? No, she's going to have some issues in the house because you have people who are young, who are liberal, they're not as religious in the UK. I see Danielle having a hard time in there. And she's going to have a hard time not only because she doesn't agree with them, but she comes off as one of these people who is going to try to force her beliefs on other people, and she's going to feel like they're teaming up on her and she's the lone wolf. And I do not think I predict, this is my prediction for Danielle. Inside of the first 4 days inside the Big Brother house, Danielle will be crying. I'm calling it. I called it now.
oh, well, let's talk about one of the scenes that kind of stood out in that whole episode last night with the UK launch. She was sitting there talking to Winston on the couch, and she's up there talking about stocks and whatnot, and you could just tell Winston's like, why are you talking to me about this shit? I honestly don't want to know about this.
Winston's in there. He's a party guy. He's one of the bros. He wants to talk to the attractive women, man. I saw his eyes going up and down every time one of those women walked into that house. So for him to be stuck out there with Miss Conservative, but he was a good sport. He played along with it. And let's talk about someone else who I disliked her from the beginning. By the way, if you guys haven't figured out, this isn't going to be like a kind of sports podcast where we just talk about people generically and don't give our opinions and try to be unbiased. There's people we like and dislike, and we're going to call people out. Your girl, Tamara, the blonde who came in first, the businesswoman, I see her as one way. I think you might have called it because I saw her as a staunch kind of traditional feminist, and I'm a feminist, and that word means a lot of things, but I thought she was going to be really conservative. You said she was the opposite, and we did get that little taste that she likes guys who are hot and dumb. And anyway, what do you think about your girl? I think you used to date her, Tamara.
Oh my god. Anyway, I hope she's one of those people where I hope she does not last long. Like, if this was a show where you could kind of like Bad Girls Club, where you could fight these chicks, she will definitely be one of the girls that get fucked up pretty early on in the show, because she kind of has that personality of like, she does what she has to do. She'll sleep around if it takes it. I honestly don't like her as a contestant. I don't like her attitude. I don't like her morals. I just don't like her. Her and then Toya. I can't stand Toya. She's one of those people that you meet in the hood that think everything is about them. She just has to make everything about her, and she wants to get what she wants and say what it is that she says. And even when the contestants from the last 6 that walked down, she's the first one at the door, just being nosy, just trying to see who's walking down the steps.
Well, I'm going to say this about Toya. She rubs me the wrong way. She seems kind of obnoxious and annoying. But she might be one of these people with that like hidden heart of gold, who puts up that tough front because she's been hurt before. So I'm going to hold out for that. As far as Tamara goes, we were just talking about her. I don't know that she necessarily sleeps around. I think she's an empowered woman. My issues aren't with her love life. My issues are with the fact that she thinks she's better than everyone else. And when we talk about people who think they're better than everybody else, we got to talk about the captain of the football team. We got to talk about the leader of the bros. We got to talk about your boy, a man I know you secretly think is going to win Big Brother, Steven.
Steven kind of has that attitude where it's like, he has that posh kind of sense where all he thinks is, he gets what he wants. Mommy fed him when he was early. She made him believe that he has to have the best of the best. Even when he was sitting there talking to Kimberly, it was kind of like one of those job interview kind of talks. Either that or one of those talks that when you call somebody into the office before you fire them. Steven, and plus his attitude of just thinking he's entitled to shit. It really just makes me upset.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of his either. For whatever reason, I see him and Kimberly. I know it's random, but I see them maybe hooking up. Kimberly's the attractive Playboy model in the house, the only American. But I wish we could say more about Kimberly, but she's so far pretty generic. There's not much to say about her aside from the fact that in New York City you've seen her picture outside the Playboy store.
Yeah, I actually have seen her picture outside of the Victoria's Secret up in Manhattan, in Soho. So I was actually quite surprised to see her there on the Big Brother UK show.
And I'm going to talk briefly about Christopher. I really like this guy. This guy, he seems like me. And let's make a little wager here because you think he's gay, I think he's straight. So that's another thing we're betting on as the summer plays out, you know, because someone's going to ask him and we're going to find out. We should have money on it, but in any case, I really do think Christopher can go far in the house. He's the male Helen. Helen and Christopher are the two most normal people in the house to me.
Yeah, see, now I know a lot of people's gonna be like, God, he's judging people already, and he's saying that, you know, the guy is gay. But you see a guy 23 years old, you know, jumping up and down, kind of happy like, and the way he's talking to some of these females, it kind of makes me question him, you know. I don't think he's that kind of attitude, not like Winston or anybody. Like, you can tell those dudes are straight, but it's like with him, he can be on the fence. He might be bisexual, he might be on the fence. I'm not exactly sure, but I'm leaning towards he's gay.
I mean, to me, I'm not going to look at somebody jumping up and down and stuff and say they're gay. To me, if you're attracted to the same gender, you're gay. That's the only thing that makes you gay. And if he is gay, I still like him just as much.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with him as a person. Like I said, I picked him to be a winner, a possible winner.
And then we got to talk. We saved the best for last, and we're going to wrap up this podcast. What about Chris, the comedian of the house? No one out there can dislike Chris.
Yeah, he's kind of got that Stephen King kind of flow to him, where he's kind of like, I don't know, it's not it's sarcastic, but it's also creepy, but in a funny way. There's gonna be a lot of people who don't like him, but I think, go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say, when I look at him, sorry to interrupt, when I look at him, he reminds me of kind of like a Jack Black.
Yeah.
You know, like, I'm looking forward to seeing him in the house. He said he's the kind of guy who, if you went up and punched him in the face, he'd probably turn around and apologize to you. So I hope Jale stays away from him, because she'll just literally and figuratively, you know, pummel him.
But talking about people of that type, you said this about your boy Matthew, how you think he's one of those people whose fathers come up and he's like, you know, yeah, go ahead, and he's gonna run his mouth because he knows that he can't be hit.
Exactly. Yeah, that's how Matthew comes off. He's the kind of guy who will annoy you and creep you out and get in your face, and he'll tell you, hey, you know, why don't you just do something? And at the same time, he's going to be telling you, my dad's a police officer. There's cameras around here. Those people across the street have their cell phones out. Come on, why don't you do something?
Yeah, so, you know, the antagonist.
He's going to be creeping the girls out. He's Mr. Cringe. Anyway, we're going to wrap that up because this show's on every night. Please, I'm not going to give you a link. Please look for it online. It's Big Brother 2014, the UK edition. I have to thank Fight Night's Finest for joining me. I love this show. It is my favorite TV show in the world. I watch it religiously. I look forward to it. Please join us. It is going to be an awesome summer, both in the UK and in the United States. It's been your host, Arachnid Soul, intellectual, voracious, and passionate about Big Brother UK 2014. Fight Night's Finest and I will catch you girls and guys later.